Hey there, and welcome to my channel. My name is Natalie, and what you will experience today by watching this video is I'm going to be overlooking the month of November. So if you're new to me, actually, I should start with that, is if you're new to me, I call myself the esoteric practitioner. And the reason for that is because I dabble in many practices that not many, or I mean, nowadays many people are studying. But in my own self study, I have recognized and attuned or honed in on my psychic mediumship ability, but also working with energy. So I call my unique energy practice called energy recalibration because it is a blend of modalities. So it's a blend of my psychic and mediumship channeling while also utilizing my hypnosis and hypnotherapy training on top of the attunement of working with Reiki energy. And the reason why I say Reiki energy is because I was told while I was working through the ethers and all of that, it wasn't appropriate for me to call what I do Reiki because although it was a catalyst for education on how to work with energy. It is not what I do, and I was actually told to call what I do energy recalibration. So that is one of my other practices. I also, most people who are called to work with me are looking for personal transformation. So I have one-on-one sessions, both online and in person, while also working in group form. So stay tuned if you want to look over November with me and see how it is impacting you potentially mentally, potentially emotionally, and how the physical might show up for you, how it might show up in your physical, or how it could impact you spiritually. So we're going to look at all of that, and stay tuned and let's get into it. You are going to be, in a way, overcoming the obstacles that are deep within the psyche. For those of you who have worked with me not only one-on-one, but who have engaged in these videos, are going to understand that you will be coming into the state of what true self-forgiveness is and forgiveness overall. Now, yes, self-forgiveness and true forgiveness, coming into oneness with that concept, with that idea of forgiveness. And you are going to be settling into that state. You are going to be taking a sigh of, okay, it is time to move forward. We are now moving forward. We are moving forward. And how do we move forward? Well, we recognize where all the pieces have broken. We recognize what has fallen on the ground in front of us. We have recognized that there is a mess below us, and now we get to rebuild. Now we get to not even just rebuild, but pick up these pieces and start to form a completely much more unique sort of creation. And that's what has been gifted to you, is the gift of creation. You have been gifted with bare minimum. You have been gifted with essentials. And that is the beauty of humanity, is that you are capable of building from basic nothing. You can build. But what you don't recognize is that humanity, you humans, are incredible beings. You humans are incredible beings. The moment you can step outside of judgment, the moment you can step into oneness, you become one with creation, and then you can create many things. Yes, everybody's on their own level. Yes, everyone is on their own cycles and patterns, and will be utilizing their abilities in different formalities, in different ways. and at the highest sense of observation to notice when you start to overthink, and so that is something that you want to pay attention to in the coming 3 weeks. 3 weeks. How often can you beat a subject down, pull it apart, and just tear it apart so much where you don't even know what it began with in the first place? That is the process of overthinking, where you can't even remember what it began with in the first place. So be very cautious, or be very aware of yourself in the next 3 weeks to start rebuilding the self of where did this all begin? Where, even in just simple conversation, when you get lost and go on a tangent, come back to center, come back to the main topic at hand. And then even through your own conversation, it's going to be interesting to see yourself and how you have avoided and circumvented stuff that you were supposed to see, even in simple conversation. So, I'm doing this a little different today. I'm stepping back in, and it's just really interesting how, oh man, today is wild for me because I'm doing this very differently today. Something today was just not wanting me to, something internally was not wanting me to get up and do this recording, which is really fascinating because I enjoy connecting with spirit in a way that can influence or inspire individuals to see a higher outcome in their life. So it was really fascinating that in this moment today, I was really kind of dreading it, and I wanted to get back up in the saddle and say, okay, let's just keep going. Let's keep going. And that's why today feels very different with how I am conducting my space or conducting my channeling. So bear with me today because this is a new experience with you all. So just looking back at November, 3 weeks is going to be, for those of you who rise to the occasion, it's going to be inspirational for you because you'll be able to start seeing yourself. You'll be able, and let's talk about it from a standpoint of because we are linked in to the collective consciousness. So we have an opportunity to see where our own contradictions are. We have an opportunity to, that's what it really is just becoming aware and attuned to this understanding of self-reflection and what the power that it holds and how it's capable of linking up both parts of the brain. So that's what this month has, at least the first 3 weeks. Now, I'm also getting a 6-week standpoint that in about 6 weeks, all of this is going to make sense because there's going to be a processing period. So in that processing period, that's when all of this is going to make sense. So for those of you who are with me on this frequency or on this timeline that are meeting this energy right here and now, it's going to be interesting to hear from you what 6 weeks looks like. And so that takes you into December, right? Maybe about the second week of December. So, but I will say that there are going to be individuals in November that might be, and it looks like kind of getting this like upheaval or this of this sensation, like a visceral or a very nauseating feeling of, is this what I contributed to? Wow, I can't believe how my choices have contributed to this? I can't, so there's going to be so much of that where people are going to be starting to recognize their own contradiction. And then when they start seeing that, it could go into a state of just kind of like not feeling good. Like, oh my gosh, how did my choices take me here? So then there's that level of wanting to remind you to have self-compassion. And then that's when the self-forgiveness and the forgiveness of all comes through. Because we have to understand that ultimately, we are human. We are built with blinders. A lot of us came in with amnesia, and we don't remember, especially because of the society that we have been brought into. We don't remember what we are connected to and what we are a part of. And so to have some self-compassion, which can lead to compassion overall. Just if you can, do yourself a favor and step outside of yourself. Observe these thoughts, observe these emotions. So there's nausea, because you're feeling potential guilt, potential, I'm going to let you all feel that, because I'm not going to program to what you guys think, how you're perceiving it. Let yourself truly see yourself in this next 3 to 6 weeks. Okay, 3 to 6 weeks. Now, kind of going over the last week and a half of November, we're looking at that. For those of you who are watching me from the United States, America, for those of you that are inside the tradition of Thanksgiving, you might see yourself in a daze. I'm kind of seeing, just kind of like how I paused, you might kind of see yourself in contemplation and just what did I agree to? What did I agree to? Am I still wanting to agree to this? And that's a beautiful point to be in for those of you who are questioning that, because that's the point of where you can pivot. For those of you who are Friends fans, I hear Ross being like, pivot. That's the chanting. That's the cheerleading, if you will, kind of like, you can do this. You can shift. You can pivot and align with something else that makes more sense with how, again, this has been a message that's come through many times, how you want to exist. But we have to take it at the individual level, okay? And so, again, it has the potential to, the end of November, around, Thanksgiving time, you can find yourself in contemplation, and almost I see people snapping like, hey, are you here with us? Like, what's going on? Are you out of it? What's going on? Now, contemplation can look many ways. It doesn't always have to be you're contemplating about your choices. It could be about you're observing, for instance, I don't even like to talk, I don't like talking politics, but, let's just be honest. There's going to be individuals who are disappointed, and there's going to be individuals who are excited. Either way, it's going to have an impact on all of us collectively, mentally, because we all are kind of, I see many people kind of like, wow, and taking a deep breath and just observing how. So whatever, side you're finding yourself on, whether it's politically, whether it's in, even family politics, even work politics type of thing, like all of the systems. If you refer back to my February date or my February forecast, I talked about how systems will be, falling or breaking apart and whatnot. So it doesn't matter where you find yourself on these systems. This is an opportunity to look at, how did your own contradiction within the self contribute to this, or contribute to what you're agreeing to, or, all of the things. So wherever this finds you, to understand that we are all getting waves of awakening within our own psyche, within our own subconscious. And so, when you have made a choice out of unconsciousness, it is a opportunity for you to take a pause, for you to break, for you to look at what you're ready to recognize in yourself and what you're ready to come together within yourself and say, okay, I recognize I'm not aligned with my morals, my values, and my ethics from this level of awakening or this level of self-awareness. And that is so, again, pivotal. And so I even applaud, I applaud anybody who is willing and brave enough and courageous enough to say, I'm aware enough now and I can make a change within myself. And I'm going to, even when it looks like I have to overcome mountains within my psychology, within my subconscious, within my family, within my friendships, whatever it is, even though it looks like I have to overcome mountains, the biggest one to overcome is the enemy within, which is the enemy within ourselves. Okay? So it is something that you are going to want to pay very much attention to, is how you have been not together or in alignment within your own being. That's what the end of November starts to look like. Is the end of November starts to look like deep contemplation, deep thought. So when you get the opportunity to step outside of yourself and recognize that change is among us, and we've got to learn to embrace the impermanence of life itself. And I wish you self-compassion. I wish you some space in between when you come to the state of recognizing your own, the parts of you that are split type of thing, that are not together. The word that just keeps coming to me is congruent. When we're not, I keep hearing congruent. So I'm going to use that word. And I wish you self-compassion, patience, space within yourself, and not what I'm talking about, but taking a breath and recognizing that many people operate from a level of unconsciousness, and you just might be one of them on one layer, but you might be aware of other parts of you on other layers. So we got to understand that there are different layers and levels to this personal evolution. So again, I'll leave that all with you. I wish you a wonderful, or again, I'm getting back into it, so I'm going to just leave it there. Enjoy November. May Spirit be with you, or may the Force be with you.